Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you the last 10 minutes before bed could change your entire life? Not tomorrow, not in a year, but tonight while you're asleep. And if you're doing this one common thing before bed, you might be blocking miracles from ever reaching you. Most people treat sleep like a shutdown mode. Crash onto the pillow, scroll till their eyes burn, then wonder why they wake up feeling drained. But ancient traditions knew better. They saw sleep as a bridge, a hidden space where the mind unlocks doors reality can't touch. Tonight you'll learn how to cross that bridge. The nightly ritual most people get wrong. You've been told a lie. A lie so simple, so repetitive that you've stopped questioning it. Get 8 hours of sleep, as if time alone is the magic key. But here's the truth. Those last moments before you close your eyes, that's where the real alchemy happens. Think about it. You could sleep for 10 hours, but if your mind is a storm of unfinished arguments, tomorrow's to-do lists, and the blue glow of your phone screen haunting your eyelids, what grows in that darkness? Not rest, not clarity, just more of the same chaos recycled and amplified. Your mind before sleep isn't a blank slate. It's soil, rich, fertile, waiting, and what you plant in it, whether you mean to or not, determines what you wake up to. Most people plant weeds, the stress of the day, the text that they shouldn't have sent, the money they don't have yet, the conversation they're rehearsing for a future that hasn't happened. Weeds. And weeds don't need permission to grow. They spread overnight, tangling around your dreams, squeezing out peace before you even open your eyes. But there's another way. Imagine instead planting seeds. Not random hopes, not vague wishes, but seeds. A single thought, clear and deliberate. A sentence whispered to yourself like a secret. An image held gently in your mind's eye. Seeds don't fight for space. They don't shout. They're quiet, but they're stubborn. Put one in the soil of your mind and it roots, it digs deeper while you sleep. And when you wake up, it's the first thing you see, not the chaos, the possibility. This isn't mysticism, it's cause and effect. Your brain doesn't shut off when you sleep. It gets busier, it sorts files, connects. It takes whatever you gave it last and weaves it into your subconscious. Give it garbage, it builds a landfill. Give it gold, it builds a treasury. The problem most people don't realize they are choosing. They think the last scroll through social media doesn't count. The last worry doesn't matter. But it all counts. The mind doesn't have a trash can. It keeps everything. So, how do you change it? Start with the last 10 minutes. 10 minutes, that's all. But guard them like your life depends on it. Because, in a way, it does. This isn't about adding another task to your day. It's about subtraction. Cutting out the noise, the light, the screams, the voices that aren't yours. Sit on the edge of your bed. Breathe. Not because someone told you to, but because breathing is the first and last act of every day. Inhale like you're drawing in the quiet. Exhale like you're releasing everything that doesn't serve. Do it until your shoulders drop, until your jaw unclenches, until your mind stops reaching for tomorrow and yesterday and settles here. Then plant your seed. One thought, one intention, not a list, not a demand. Something simple. I am capable. Answers come to me. I release what I don't need. Say it once. Say it like you mean it. Then let it go. Don't cling to it. Don't dissect it. Trust that the soil knows what to do. This is the ritual most people get wrong. They treat sleep like an off switch, but it's not an ending. It's a crossing a threshold. And what you carry in your hands as you step over that determines what's waiting for you on the other side. Why your brain is a magnet after dark. Nighttime is a liar. It tricks you into thinking nothing's happening. Sit on the edge of your bed. Not slumped, not rigid, but present. Feel the weight of your body. Notice the air on your skin. Close your eyes if it helps. But even if you keep them open, soften your gaze. Now breathe in for 4 seconds. Not a shallow sip of air, but a deep intentional draw, as if you're pulling stillness itself into your lungs. Hold it for 4 seconds, not with tension, but with awareness. Then exhale for 6. Let it go slowly, as if you're releasing everything that no longer belongs to you. Do this 3 times. That's it. Why does this work? Because your breath is the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. When you control it with intention, you send a signal not just to your body, but to your entire being. You are telling your nervous system, we are safe, we are ready. And when your nervous system believes that everything changes, a cluttered mind repels miracles. Not because miracles are picky, but because they require space to land. Imagine trying to pour clean water into a cup already filled with mud. The water can't settle, it can't mix. It simply spills over, wasted. Your mind is the same if it's full of the day's chaos, tomorrow's worries, yesterday's regrets. Where is the space for anything new? Where is the room for the unexpected, the divine, the serendipitous? This 3 practice is not about adding something to your life. It's about clearing something away. It's not another task on your to-do list. It's the eraser that wipes the list clean. When you breathe like this, 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out, you are not just oxygenating your blood. You are resetting your entire system. You are telling your body, the day is done. The work is over. Now we rest, and when your body listens, your mind follows. You don't need candles. You don't need chanting. You don't need to visualize or manifest or repeat affirmations unless those things feel natural to you. All you need is the breath. Because the breath is the first thing you took when you entered this world, and it will be the last thing you release when you leave. Everything else is just decoration. Try it tonight. Not as an experiment, not as a maybe this will work. Try it as if your life depends on it. Because in many ways it does. The quality of your sleep determines the quality of your waking hours. The clarity of your mind determines the clarity of your decisions. The peace in your body determines the peace in your faith. 3 minutes, that's all. But in those 3 minutes, you might just find the missing piece you've been searching for. The worst thing to do before bed. Stop this now. There is a thief in your bedroom. It doesn't sneak in through the window or pick the lock on your door. You invite it in. You hold it in your hands. You stare into its glowing face every night believing it's harmless. But it is stealing from you. Not your money, not your possessions, something far more valuable. It is stealing your peace, your rest, your ability to wake up renewed. Your phone, this isn't about blue light. This isn't about sleep cycles or melatonin. Those things matter, but they're just the surface. The real damage runs deeper. When you check your phone before bed, you are not just exposing yourself to light. You are exposing yourself to energy. Every headline, every message, every notification carries a vibration. Some are neutral, many are not. A single violent news story can send your nervous system into fight or flight. A stressful email can send your mind spinning into problem-solving mode. A social media post can trigger envy, insecurity, or frustration, all without you even realizing it. Think of your mind as a pond. Throughout the day, ripples disturb the surface, conversations, tasks, emotions. But as night falls, the water begins to still, the ripples fade. The pond settles into clarity. Now imagine just as the surface is about to become smooth, someone throws a rock into the water. The ripples start again. The clarity is lost. That's what your phone does to your mind. You would never invite a screaming crowd into your bedroom. You would never ask strangers to shout their opinions, their drama, their chaos at you right before you close your eyes. But when you scroll through your phone, that's exactly what you're doing. The voices on the screen, the politicians, the influencers, the angry commenters, they don't disappear when you lock the device. They echo, they linger. They seep into your subconscious and shape your dreams, your mood, your entire next day. And here's the cruelest part. You don't even remember most of what you see. The brain doesn't need conscious recognition to absorb energy. A split-second glance at a negative headline can plant a seed of anxiety. A two-second scroll past an excess photo can trigger old emotion. You might not even realize why you wake up feeling heavy, restless, or unsettled, but your subconscious knows. The solution is simple, not easy, but simple. Stop. Put the phone down. Not at bedtime, before bedtime. At least 30 minutes, ideal hour. Give your mind time to release the day, to let the ripples fade, to return to stillness. If you must use your phone, make it intentional. Set it to grayscale. Turn off notifications. Use it for one purpose only. Music, a guided meditation, an audiobook, then set it aside. This isn't about discipline, it's about respect. Respect for your mind, respect for your sleep, respect for the sacred space between waking and dreaming where the deepest healing happens. Your phone will still be there in the morning, but the peace you sacrifice for it, that may not be. So tonight, don't just turn off your phone. Turn away from it. Close the door on the noise. Let your mind settle into silence and see what happens when you stop inviting the thief inside. How to lock in your dreams for real-world miracles. There exists a hidden conversation happening every night. One that most people sleep right through without ever realizing they're being spoken to. Your dreams aren't just random neurological fireworks. They're a direct line to the deepest, wisest part of you. The part that sees solutions before problems arise, that recognizes opportunities before they knock, that knows exactly what you need, even when your waking mind is completely lost. For centuries, ancient traditions understood this. They didn't see dreams as entertainment or nonsense. They saw them as messages, as guidance, as the universe whispering its secrets in a language beyond words. The Egyptians built temples for dream incubation. The Greeks sought prophetic visions. Indigenous cultures trained for years to develop what they called big dreams, the kind that change life. And you likely wake up most mornings barely remembering anything at all. Not because you can't receive these messages, but because no one ever taught you how to listen. Here's the first key. Your dreaming mind responds to direct questions, not vague. Most people make the mistake of thinking, if I dream about money, I'll get rich. But that's like shouting, feed me into an empty kitchen. You need to be specific. You need to ask properly. Keep a notebook by your bed. Nothing fancy, just something within arm's reach. Before you sleep, write one sentence. Not I want money, but tonight I will receive clarity on the next step for my business. Not I want love, but show me what's blocking me from receiving love. Then close the book, turn off the light, and let go completely. This last part is crucial. The moment you try to force an answer is the moment you block it. And think of it like calling a friend for advice. You ask your question, then you actually stop talking so they can respond. Your subconscious works the same way. The writing sets the intention. The letting go creates the space for the answer to arrive. And when it does, whether in a vivid dream, a sudden morning insight, or a synchronistic event the next day, you'll recognize it immediately because you ask for it by name. The second key is trust. Not every message comes wrapped in flashing lights and angelic choirs. Sometimes the guidance is subtle, a feeling upon waking, a word that sticks in your mind, a memory of a dream fragment that won't leave you alone. These are just as valid as the epic movie like dreams. Your job isn't to interpret or analyze immediately. Your job is to notice, to recall, to say thank you. I'm listening. The meaning often reveals itself later when you least expect it but most need it. This practice works because it aligns two powerful forces, intention and surrender. The intention focuses your subconscious like a laser beam. The surrender removes the resistance that normally blocks the answers from coming through. Together they create what ancient traditions call the bridge between worlds, where divine intelligence can cross over into your daily life. Not as some mystical event, but as practical, actionable guidance. The kind that shows up right when you need it most. Tonight, try not as an experiment, but as someone who finally understands how this conversation is meant to work. Ask your question clearly, then let it go completely and pay attention not just to your dreams, but to everything that follows. Because once you start this dialogue properly, you begin noticing responses everywhere, in conversations overheard, in songs that play at just the right moment, in ideas that arrive fully formed upon waking. This is how miracles move from concept to reality. Not by magic, but by a communication channel you've now learned how to open. The secret power of silence. Even if you hate it, modern life has become a war against silence. We armor ourselves against it with podcasts during workouts, TV during meals, music during commutes, and screens during every empty moment in between. We've convinced ourselves this is normal, even productive. But there's a cost to this constant noise that few ever stop to calculate. We've become strangers to our own minds. The resistance to silence isn't accidental, it's instinctive. Because in silence things surface, truths we've been avoiding, ideas we've been suppressing, guidance we've been too distracted to hear. This is why so many people would rather sit in traffic for an hour than sit in a quiet room for 10 minutes. The traffic is frustrating but familiar. The silence, that's uncharted territory. And what lives in that territory is the most important thing you will ever hear. Your own inner voice. Not the voice of your thoughts. Not the voice of your worries or to-do lists. The voice beneath all that. The one that knows exactly what you need before you ask. The one that could solve half your problems if you just stop talking long enough to listen. This voice doesn't shout. It doesn't compete with Netflix or argue with your notifications. It waits patiently. And the only way to hear it is to remove everything else. Here's what no one tells you about silence. It's not empty. It's full of everything you've been too busy to notice. Full of answers to questions you've been asking for years. Full of a kind of intelligence that doesn't come from books or podcasts or gurus. This is why every wisdom tradition in history, from monks to mystics, from philosophers to scientists, has valued silence above all else. Not as punishment, not as deprivation, as the most direct path to what actually matters. Try this tonight after your breathing ritual. Sit in complete silence for just 60 seconds. No goal, no meditation technique, just silence. You'll likely notice two things immediately. First, how uncomfortable it feels initially, like your skin is too tight, like you should be doing something, like time has slowed down unnaturally. Second, if you stay with it, how that discomfort gives way to something else entirely. A settling, a clarity, a sense of coming home to yourself in a way you'd forgotten was possible. The mind in silence is like a snow globe that's being shaken constantly. When you finally set it down, the flakes drift gently to the bottom. The water clears and what was always there becomes visible again. This is where real insight lives, not in more information, but in the space between information. Not in more noise, but in the absence of it. Most people never experience this because they mistake silence for nothingness. It's actually the opposite. It's where everything comes from. Every great idea, every moment of inspiration, every life-changing decision in human history began in silence, not in a brainstorming session or a committee meeting in someone finally getting quiet enough to hear what was already there. Your resistance to silence is the measure of how much you need it. The more uncomfortable it feels, the more essential it is for you. Start small. 60 seconds, then 2 minutes, then 5. Don't try to achieve anything during this time. Don't judge the thoughts that arise, just sit. Just listen. Just be. The benefits won't feel dramatic at first. They'll feel subtle but significant. Like a weight you didn't know you were carrying has been set down. Like a fork you didn't realize was there has lifted slightly. This is how you reclaim your mind from the chaos of modern life. Not through complicated techniques or expensive retreats. Through the simple radical act of being silent, of remembering how to hear yourself again, of discovering that the answers you've been seeking everywhere else were inside you all along, waiting patiently for you to stop talking long enough to listen. Why you should talk to your future self before sleep. The most important conversation you're not having is with someone who already knows all your answers. They've lived through every challenge you're currently facing. They've made the decisions you're struggling with right now. They've already arrived at the place you're trying so hard to reach. This person isn't a guru or a mentor. This person is you, just a version of you that exists further down the time. Most people move through life as if they're walking backward, focused only on where they've been, reacting to what's immediately behind them. But what if you could turn around? What if you could consult with the version of yourself who's already crossed the bridge you're standing at the edge? That's exactly what this practice allows you to do. And the doorway to this conversation opens most easily at night, in those quiet moments before sleep, when your mind becomes permeable to possibility beyond linear time. Here's how it works. Close your eyes and imagine your future self standing before you. Don't strain to visualize details. This isn't about seeing their clothes or their hairstyle. It's about feeling their presence. This is you after the transformation, after the healing, after the success, after whatever mountain you're currently climbing. Feel how they stand differently than you do now. Notice how their energy moves differently through space. See how their eyes hold a quiet knowing you don't yet possess. Then ask them one simple question. What do I need to know tonight? The magic of this practice lies in what you don't do next. You don't force answers. You don't strain to hear a voice. You don't get frustrated if nothing comes immediately. You simply plant the question like a seed in fertile soil. Then let it go completely. This is crucial because the answer rarely comes in the moment you ask. It comes later in the middle of the night when you wake with sudden clarity in the morning shower, when a solution appears out of nowhere, or days later when you find yourself acting differently without quite knowing. What you're actually doing here is bypassing your logical mind's limitations. Your conscious brain can only work with what it already knows. But your future self operates from a place of expanded awareness. They remember what it felt like to be where you are now. But they also know how everything turned out. They know which risks were worth taking. They know which fears were illusions. They know exactly what you needed to hear at this exact moment in your journey. And when you ask properly, then let go, that wisdom can cross the temporal divide and find its way to you. This isn't fantasy. This is how memory works in reverse. Just as you can recall past experiences, you can access future potentials because at the deepest level, time isn't linear the way we experience it in waking life. All versions of you exist simultaneously in the quantum field of consciousness. The version who's already healed, already prosperous, already living the life you dream about. They are as real as the version reading these words right now, and they're waiting for you to ask for their guidance. The resistance most people feel to this practice reveals its power. It feels silly at first, uncomfortable, like talking to an imaginary friend. But push through that discomfort, because what feels like imagination today becomes lived reality tomorrow. Every creation exists twice. First in consciousness, then in form. By conversing with your future self, you're doing the most sophisticated form of goal setting possible. You're not just visualizing an outcome, you're consulting with a consciousness that has already achieved it. Tonight, try it differently than you've tried other techniques. Don't perform this as an experiment. Approach it as someone who finally understands. They've been leaving the most important conversations unsaid. Ask your question with the same seriousness you'd use if this future version of you was physically present in the. Then pay attention not just to dreams or immediate insights, but to the subtle shifts in your perceptions and choices over the coming days. You'll start noticing thoughts that feel downloaded, ideas that arrive complete, solutions that feel obvious in ways they never did before. This is your future self communicating across time using the open channel you created by finally asking the right question. The one word that can unlock your subconscious. Language creates reality long before physical matter catches up. Every civilization understood this. The power of certain sounds to shape consciousness, to call forth energies, to align the invisible patterns that eventually manifest as visible XP. Modern life has reduced words to mere information carriers, but their true function runs much deeper, especially the words you carry with you into sleep when your subconscious mind is most receptive to programming. Gratitude lists have become spiritual, busy work. Another item to check off before bed. No. But there's a difference between listing things you are theoretically grateful for and planting a single word so deeply in your psyche that it begins rearranging your reality to match its vibration. One word chosen with care and repeated with intention as you cross the threshold into sleep can do more than 20 items on a gratitude list ever could. Because while lists engage your thinking mind, a single powerful word bypasses thought entirely and speaks directly to your subconscious in the language it understands best: frequency. Here's why this works. Your subconscious operates in symbols, not sentences. When you give it a list, it gets overwhelmed and defaults to surface level processing. But when you give it one concentrated word, peace, freedom, strength, clarity, it receives that word like a seed containing an entire forest worth of potential. That word becomes a tuning fork vibrating at a specific frequency that your entire being begins to align with. And because you're delivering this word at the most impressionable time, just before sleep, it sinks deeper than it ever could during waking hours. The word you choose matters more than you might think. It shouldn't be what you think you should want, but what your soul actually craves. Don't pick abundance because some guru said to pick it only if saying it aloud makes your chest tighten or your breath catch. The right word for you right now will feel both exciting and slightly uncomfortable to sit with. Exciting because it calls to your deepest becoming. Uncomfortable because it's not yet your lived experience. That tension is exactly what makes it powerful. Try this tonight. After completing your bedtime routine, as you're settling into that space between waking and sleeping, let one word rise to the surface. Don't force it. The right word often appears spontaneously when you create quiet space for it. When it comes, hold it gently in your awareness. Repeat it silently a few times, feel its vibration in your body. Then release it completely as if you're dropping it into deep water. Don't cling to it. Don't analyze it. Just let it go, trusting that your subconscious knows exactly what to do with it. What happens next operates beyond linear time. That word begins working in you like yeast in dough. Silently, invisibly, but unmistakably in its effects. You might notice yourself drawn to different choices the next day. Certain opportunities might suddenly appear where you never saw them before. Situations that would have triggered you yesterday might leave you strangely unfazed. These are all signs the word is doing its work, rewiring your subconscious patterns to match its frequency. The beauty of this practice is its simplicity meeting its profound depths. On the surface, it seems too easy to be powerful. Just one word before bed. But that's exactly why it works so well. There's no resistance to overcome, no complicated technique to master. You're not trying to convince yourself of anything or affirm something that doesn't feel true yet. You're simply introducing a quality into your inner ecosystem and letting nature take its course. Some nights the word will come easily. Other nights you might struggle to find the right one. When that happens, return to basics. What does your body need most right now? Not your mind's wants, but your body's deepest craving. Often it's something startlingly simple. Rest when you've been pushing too hard. Joy when life has felt heavy. Ease when everything's been a struggle. These words might seem small, but their effects are anything but. This is how you collaborate with your subconscious instead of fighting it. Not through force or repetition, but through resonant alignment. That one word becomes a homing beacon, guiding your entire system towards states of being that used to require enormous effort. And the more you practice this, the more you'll notice something remarkable. The words begin choosing you as much as you choose them. They'll pop into your head at just the right moment, perfectly capturing what your soul is ready to integrate next. This is the language of your deeper self, communicating through you, and sleep becomes the sacred space where that communication flows most freely. How to wake up feeling like you've already won. There's a secret rhythm to how reality unfolds that most people get back. They believe achievement comes first. Then the feeling of success follows. They think you must see proof before you can believe something is possible. But the truth operates in reverse order. The feeling comes first. The knowing precedes the evidence. The victory is claimed internally long before it manifests externally. And nowhere does this principle apply more powerfully than in those final moments before sleep. When your mind stands at the threshold between today's limitations and tomorrow's possibility, think of the last time you woke up already feeling like everything was going your way. Maybe you didn't have any concrete reason to feel that way yet. No lottery win, no miraculous news, but the sensation was undeniable as if some invisible switch had flipped over. Now consider this. That feeling didn't appear randomly. It was the echo of what you carried with you into sleep. Your final thoughts before unconsciousness aren't just passing mental chatter. They're the blueprint your subconscious uses to reconstruct your reality while you sleep. Whisper, "I'm so stressed," as you drift off, and your mind spends the night gathering evidence to confirm that story. Whisper, "I did it," with quiet certainty, and your subconscious gets to work aligning circumstances to match that truth. This isn't positive thinking. This is neurological fact. Your brain's reticular activating system, the filter that determines what you notice in your environment, takes its marching orders from your dominant thoughts and feelings. When you plant a seed of accomplished certainty before sleep, you're programming this filter to seek out matching evidence upon waking. The person who falls asleep dwelling on problems wakes up seeing more problems everywhere. The person who falls asleep embodying the solution wakes up noticing opportunities they previously overlooked. Same world, different filters, all determined by those crucial final thoughts before sleep. The key lies in the delivery. This isn't about frantic affirmations or trying to convince yourself of something that feels untrue. It's about finding that quiet space beyond hope and fear where you can simply declare, "I did it," as if stating the weather. No hype, no forced enthusiasm, just a simple acknowledgement of something that already is. The more matter-of-fact you can be with this, the more powerfully it works. Your subconscious responds best to statements delivered with calm authority, not desperate pleading. Try it tonight as you're hovering at the edge of sleep. Let the words "I did it" form in your mind, not as a wish, not as a question, as a simple observation. The way you'd say the sun is shining. What happens next defies linear logic, but follows impeccable spiritual physics. Your mind, unable to distinguish between imagined and actual experience, accepts this statement as truth and begins coordinating reality to reflect it. You'll notice small synchronicities. First, an unexpected compliment that mirrors your new self-concept, a sudden insight about how to solve a lingering problem, an email arriving at just the right moment. These aren't coincidence. They're your subconscious having received a memo you sent before sleep and now pulling circumstances into alignment with that energy. The most powerful version of this practice involves engaging more than just words. As you whisper, "I did it." Let your body briefly access the physical sensation of having already succeeded, the slight smile that can't be suppressed, the shoulders relaxing into victory, the deep exhale of someone who knows the work has paid off. These micro sensations send even clearer signals to your subconscious than words alone. Together they form a near irresistible command not to the universe, but to your own perception, instructing it to filter your waking experience through the lens of someone for whom success is already a done deal. This explains why some people seem to wake up lucky while others wake up cursed. It's not fortune or fate, it's the cumulative effect of those final thoughts before sleep, night after night, gradually shaping what each person is capable of noticing and attracting. The good news: you get to choose which camp you wake up in tomorrow, not through complex rituals or hours of meditation, through one simple sentence delivered with quiet conviction. At the most impressionable moment of your day, "I did it." 3 words that cost nothing to try but could change everything if you do. When to expect miracles? The truth nobody says. We've been sold a lie about how transformation works, that it arrives in dramatic lightning bolt moments. That one day you're struggling and the next everything has magically changed. Social media perpetuates this myth with its highlight reels of overnight success stories. Spiritual teachers often skip over the messy middle where real work happens. Even the language of manifestation suggests instantaneous results, but the truth about miracles operates on a different timetable. One that respects natural law while still allowing for extraordinary breakthroughs. Real change moves in layers, not leaps. Think of how spring arrives, not all at once, but through subtle signs accumulating until suddenly the evidence is undeniable. First one brave crocus pushing through snow, then birds appearing on branches still too cold for leaves, birds returning one species at a time. No single moment declares, "Now it's spring," yet gradually winter's grip loosens until one day you realize the transformation is complete. Your personal miracles unfold the same way. First, small synchronicities so subtle you might dismiss them as coincidence, then slightly larger signs you can't ignore. Eventually, a cascade of evidence, proving something fundamental has shifted. Not overnight, but through a series of perfectly timed revelations your conscious mind couldn't have orchestrated. This layered approach serves an important purpose. It allows you to integrate change at a pace your psyche can handle. Imagine waking up tomorrow to everything you've ever wanted. The perfect relationship, unlimited wealth, complete healing. The shock alone might undo you. Real growth respects your need for gradual adjustment. That's why miracles often arrive piecemeal, a chance meeting that leads to an opportunity that months later results in a life-changing breakthrough. At any single point, the progress might seem insignificant. Viewed collectively, it reveals an intelligence operating far beyond random chance. The people who give up on their miracles are those who expected fireworks but got faint whispers. Instead, they overlook the small wins, the unexpected check that covers exactly what's needed, the stranger who offers precisely the right advice at the right time, the sudden inspiration that solves a long-standing problem. These aren't consolation prizes. They are the first layers of your miracle taking form. The universe speaks in increments, not because it can't deliver everything at once, but because you couldn't handle it if it did. Each small win strengthens your capacity to receive more. This explains why tracking progress matters more than demanding perfection. When you document the subtle shifts, the improved moods, the synchronicities, the moments of unexpected grace, you begin seeing the pattern hidden in plain sight. What seemed like random events reveal themselves as breadcrumbs leading somewhere extraordinary. The person who notices they're having more lucky days than before is actually witnessing their miracle unfolding in real time. The person fixated only on the end goal misses the journey that's already carrying them there. Some miracles do arrive suddenly, The spontaneous healing, the unexpected windfall, that chance encounter that alters everything. But even these dramatic shifts usually have invisible roots in small consistent shifts that preceded them. The healing often follows months of subtle energy work. The windfall comes to those who've been aligning with abundance in small ways first. The life-changing meeting happens when you've been showing up as your best self consistently enough to recognize the opportunity. The big moments get all the attention, but the small daily choices are where miracles are actually built. This layered approach also allows for course correction. If everything changed overnight, you'd have no chance to adjust your trajectory based on feedback. But when change comes gradually, you can refine your approach along the way, noticing which thoughts and actions bring better results, which attract resistance, which open unexpected doors. The miracle isn't just the destination. It's the wisdom gained through the journey that allows you to sustain the blessing once it arrives. So watch for the small signs, the inexplicable sense of peace where there used to be anxiety, the sudden solutions to old problems, the resources appearing just as needed. These aren't stepping stones to your miracle, that a miracle already in motion. The universe doesn't withhold to torment you. It reveals gradually to prepare you. And one day you'll look back at what seemed like ordinary moments and realize those were the days everything was changing layer by imperceptible layer until suddenly your life had transformed in ways you once only dreamed possible. Sleep isn't just rest, it's a secret meeting with your deepest self. The rituals you do before bed, those are your RSVP. Tonight, don't just sleep. Show up. The miracle is never just the destination, it's everything you learn, endure, and become along the way that makes the destination worth having and worth keeping. You see, blessings aren't random windfalls that fall into your lap. They're often the culmination of quiet growth, hard lessons, and inner transformations you don't even realize are happening in real time. The wisdom you gather on the journey is what gives you the capacity to sustain the blessing once it arrives. Without that wisdom, even the most beautiful gift could slip through your fingers. That's why you must learn to pay attention, to notice the subtle shifts and hidden signs that a miracle is already unfolding around you. It's in the moments where anxiety used to live but has quietly been replaced with a strange, grounded peace. It's in the sudden solutions to problems you once thought were permanent. It's in the unexpected resources, connections, and opportunities that show up just as you need them, not a moment sooner, not a moment later. These aren't just stepping stones to your miracle. For they are the miracle already in motion. The universe is not cruel. It doesn't withhold blessings to torment you. It reveals them slowly, piece by piece, because you are being prepared to hold them without breaking. Think about it. If everything you're asking for came all at once, without the capacity to handle it, it could overwhelm you instead of uplift you. So what feels like waiting is actually becoming. What feels like delay is preparation. One day you'll look back at what seemed like ordinary, uneventful days and realize those were the very moments everything was shifting beneath the surface. Layer by imperceptible layer, your life was being restructured into a version of itself you couldn't yet imagine. And then, seemingly overnight, the transformation becomes visible, not because it happened suddenly, but because it had been building quietly until the day it was ready to reveal itself. Even sleep itself is a part of this miracle. Sleep isn't just rest, it's a sacred, secret meeting with your deepest self. It's where your mind untangles, your spirit restores, and your intuition speaks without the noise of the waking world. The rituals you perform before bed, whether it's a moment of gratitude, a quiet reflection, a prayer, or simply clearing your mind, are your RSVPs to that meeting. They tell your soul, I'm ready to receive. Tonight, don't just fall into bed exhausted, letting the day fade away unconsciously. Show up for yourself. Set an intention before you close your eyes. Release the burdens you can't carry into tomorrow. Let your last thoughts be ones of trust, openness, and readiness for the quiet miracles already making their way toward you. Because every peaceful breath, every subtle sign, every night you choose to rest in faith, instead of fear, that's not the absence of progress. That's the miracle unfolding in real time.